in that opening stretch coming out and being able to, knock down buckets, get points early, get the team going?
Well, it's hard for him. He doesn't get a ton of great looks, so we try to find as many ways as we can to get him great looks. We want him to be aggressive. There was even a couple shots in the second half that I thought he passed up that we need him to take, and we want him to take. And so it's when he's making those shots, it really opens up everything for a lot of other guys, and it gives our guys energy, right? And you need guys on your team who can provide some of that confidence and that energy to people. So when he comes out like that, I think it allows a lot of other guys to settle in and just play.
You mentioned it maybe a little bit there, but what do you say to him to kind of strike that balance? Because it seems like he can make every shot he takes, but you don't want to force things, but you also want to make sure he's getting the shots. I guess.
Well, he's got a pretty good understanding. I mean, we talk about it a lot in practice. We'll watch film and talk about areas where we think he could get that shot off. A lot of the non-conference games we would sit and say, okay, like, that's as open as you're going to get. So like, if you're not ready to shoot it, then we don't know what to tell you, right? He's going to be on the top of everybody's scouting report, especially as a perimeter shooter. And so when he can find those opportunities, maybe if they're in transition, maybe if they're off penetration, obviously offset action would be great. He's got to be ready to shoot it at all times, and that's the price of being, a shooter like he is. You don't get all day. There's other guys that are open for a reason. He's not open for a reason, and so if he's not urgent and ready at all times, it's hard to get him looks. And tonight I thought he was urgent at all times.
In the first half, Andy, your team seemed to be very unselfish as far as getting to the lane, but looking for their teammates down low. They could have taken a 10, 15-foot shot, but they made the extra pass. How big was that?
Huge. I mean, I think when you play a team like St. Francis Brooklyn and the way that they defend, they try and disrupt and deny, all over the floor. You really have to go to score. When you get into the lane, you got to go to score. If you are hesitant or you're unsure, they do a great job of kind of helping and then recovering. And so we really talk to our guys about attacking the score, and then when the help comes, being able to drop it off. And I thought our guys did a really good job of that. I thought our forwards did a really good job of finding each other. Charles Bain found AJ found Yanis. And when you can have guys that are playing your forward position that are creating some of those scoring opportunities, it makes it even harder for people to guard.
And did you want your identity to be running up and down the court, or did it just the way it happened tonight?
Well, obviously we've got to run up and down the court. That's part of the deal. But I think we hope that we can play a couple of different ways, right? We want our identity to be a team that's really hard to score against, a team that's not making mistakes, a team that's unselfish. I thought we were presented with some really good break opportunities, some that we didn't finish, some that we did. And if those things are there, we want to be aggressive and take them. If they're not, we got to be able to execute in the half court as well and be able to find the right shots. Because as you come down, the stretch of conference basketball, as you get into conference tournament basketball, some of those breaks aren't always available to you, and you got to be able to execute in the half court as well.
If you started the season, usually you start the non-conferences playing tough teams. Is that get you ready for the conference? Because your schedule, your record 7-9 and 3-0 is almost like it's unbalanced.
It certainly is unbalanced. It's just what it is. And I think we always want to give our guys opportunity to play against the best, challenge ourselves, figure out what our weaknesses are, put guys in situations where they're going to be uncomfortable, and expect them to be successful. And we didn't do it as much as we wanted to in the non-conference, but we know every game in the Northeast Conference is going to be a dogfight. Every possession matters, every stretch is going to be important, and so anytime you have the opportunity to get a win, you're going to try and take advantage of it.
Josh is getting a lot of the attention, obviously, well deserved. But talk about the stretch AJ's on right now as far as what he's giving you. He's giving you stats in every column there is.
Yeah, it's pretty incredible the way that he has been able to affect the game in a positive way. Whether it's assisting, rebounding, or scoring, his activity level is through the roof. Right? He's constantly on the move. He's a great cutter. He's a very unselfish passer and obviously a very good finisher. So those are things that make it hard when you have action going, when you have motion going, people are dribble driving, and he's finding open areas to be able to capitalize on those cuts or those drives. Obviously his athleticism is tremendous. He can guard multiple positions out on the floor. And even today, I don't know what his final rebounding total was, but he had 3 or 4 times where he didn't get the rebound, but we don't get the rebound without him, where, hey, I can't grab this, but I'm going to bat this ball to a teammate, or I'm going to bat this ball in the air because I don't want my opponent to get it. Those plays don't show up on the stat sheet, but they certainly help you win games.
Andy, how does this team, I know it's early, but how does the team measure up, you think, to some of the better ones you had here?
We're not even close to getting there. We're just trying to be as small focused as we possibly can be, right? And I think that there's a good maturity about the team so far. I think there's times where, especially when we score early in games, sometimes we don't defend as hard as we can. You know, some of the best teams we've had, maybe we've had some more athleticism in certain spots, but this team is certainly playing unselfish and shooting the ball well, and we got to maintain that.
You've had a lot of success here. It's your 10th year as
It is.
head coach. Did you find when you go out to recruit, people know who you are? You're sort of making a niche for yourself?
I don't think people know who I am. I think people.
No, I mean
the
program.
Yeah, I think people start to know the program. I think people have respected the program. Seen some of the success that we've had, some of the big wins that we've been fortunate enough to have. A lot of people are aware of the facility we've just built, and I think that's, you know, those are all points of conversation. You know, and there's still people you have to educate, and there's still a lot of stuff that we want to try and accomplish here. But you know, I think it's certainly better than when I got here 13 years ago as an assistant, and you know, we made a lot of phone calls and didn't get a lot of return phone calls. So you know, it's been a lot of hard work, and a lot of players and coaches have done great jobs to kind of continue to propel the program in a positive direction.
Are you getting those return phone calls?
Yeah, no, man. Text now, everyone texts.
You mentioned tough non-conference. Do you know, I mean, I would imagine it's frustrating, obviously, you know, not getting the results you want in the non-conference. How do you know how good a team is through that stretch? You know, because now once you get to the conference, you're winning games. And you're kind of
Well, I mean, it's so early in the conference play. I mean, we're talking about, like, if we were 13 games in versus 3 games in, it would be a different feel, right? But, you know, I think you try and have your standard of play. You try and evaluate the film based on how long you can sustain that, right? And I thought as the non-conference season went on, those stretches got longer and longer, right? We're playing smarter basketball, we're playing harder basketball, we're following our formula defensively and offensively for longer stretches, and trying to see if those things are becoming more the majority of the game versus maybe in the beginning of the year there were stretches where we didn't know what was going on, right? And so that's all part of the process of building your team and getting guys to understand what it takes to win.
I think I counted you guys playing 9 states, not counting this one. Is that all the travel, does it help team bonding at all?
Yeah, I think so. You know, I think when you're around each other, and you know, we do spend an awful lot of time together on planes and buses, and even here in the facility, I think you start to get comfortable with one another, and I think you start to see some of those connections building between guys. Guys starting to get a feel for where a guy's going to be. Guys being happy for other people's success. I think that's a byproduct of that stuff, and I think it's really important if you're going to really compete at any level, because if there's enough opposition out there. If the opposition's coming from the locker room, and you really got no chance.
Before tonight, it had been a little less than a month since you've played at home. Does that have any? I mean, do you count that as having anything to do with the performance tonight? Or?
I don't know. I mean, hopefully this would be a place that we can continue to play well in and continue to defend with great pride in the program and see where it can go.
Thank you, man.
I appreciate it.
Thanks, Andy.